Are you a single woman who is struggling to find happiness in this season of being single? Do you feel that you must have a partner in order to be happy and fulfilled? If you're struggling, then I've got 5 tips that will help you understand how to be single and how to find fulfillment and contentment during this season. Hey ladies, it's Shibero here. Today we're going to look at a topic that touches each one of us in a very personal and unique way, and that is singleness. I've been through the stages of being single, then being married, and now I am unmarried, basically saying that I am divorced. Settling into my being single or my single status took quite a bit of time, because when you have been married and then you become unmarried, there are a lot of things that you have to undo from the heart and from your mind in being single. What matters is not so much being with somebody else, it's about your being whole inside you. It's your being confident and whole in yourself. If you cannot be happy and content with who you are, guaranteed you are not going to be happy and content in a marriage. So lesson number 1, life has its seasons. Being single is just another season of life, and for a very good reason. It isn't about being alone, it's about being by yourself and making yourself a better person, not someone else. So notice how the focus is on you, making yourself a better person. Number 2, it's a choice you need to make. It is something you need to tell yourself, you know what? I am single and I am going to explore being single, and I will go through the season and I will grow and I will enjoy it. What happens a lot of the time is that we think that the grass is greener on the other side. But I tell you what, unless you're fully yourself, getting to the so-called grass that is green on the other side, you'll find that actually the grass is dry and brittle. Number 3, have you thought that you may not get married? You may not necessarily live with that person who is meant to make you happy for the rest of your life. You may just never get there. And that is okay. But how do you deal with it? Are you going to go through life longing and wishing your life away because you aren't with the somebody who's meant to make you happy? You may not get there. That may not be how life pans out. What then will you do? So you really need to come to terms with that. How am I going to live my life if I do not find a partner, or if they do not find me? How is my life going to be? Don't waste it away. You have been given a life to live, and I am very sure that even if you do not have a partner, a life partner, you will find other things that you have been called to do that will bring even more fulfillment. You can be content. That's number 4. You can be content. Many of us believe that to be content, 2 things need to happen. And those 2 things are, you feel that you must get married, or we feel that if we can't get married, we must purge ourselves of any desire to ever be married. So our definition of contentment is completely wrong. And this happens with many women. It's either getting married is going to make me completely happy and fulfilled for the rest of my life, or I will never get married, period, finish, so I've got to forget about it. You can be content as a single and still want to get married someday. but it doesn't become the focus, the driving force of your life. Contentment is a decision. Being happy is a decision. It's not a feeling. It's a determination to be content and satisfied with what you have today, what you have in your hands today. Instead of looking out that way, look and see, what do I have here? And if you practice contentment and your happiness and joy today, you will be better prepared for whatever life brings your way. It's not going to be dependent on that single factor or that single thing happening to you. Number 5, you have no need to be ashamed of being single. For many women, in addition to loneliness, and jealousy comes in there, many of us feel a sense of shame about not being married. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being single. We often feel awkward when we walk into places, as though there's something wrong with us for not being attached to somebody else. There is nothing wrong with being single. There's no need to feel ashamed, embarrassed, or apologetic for being single. Marriage isn't better or worse than singleness. We have to get this into our heads, ladies. The extent to which we're able to be content being single really depends on what you believe about marriage. Do you believe you're missing out? And have you thought, missing out on what? Have a think about it. What do you think about marriage? And does this affect your being single? Do not think that the grass is greener on the other side. It is just different. And you know what? There are people who are in marriages who are struggling to get out. And the ironic thing is, many single people who want to get into marriage because they believe that things are really cozy in there. If you think your married friends are better off, then you will be miserable. But if you think that you are having a good time being single, then you'll be okay about being single. And there you have it, ladies. Basically, what this has been about is getting you to think about your being single, what you think you're missing out, and what you have that you can't see. You've got to start by thinking about who you are, becoming a whole person in the way in which you were created to be. Nobody else can fill you up until you have done what you need to do with yourself. The biggest relationship is with yourself before you go and be joined to somebody else for the rest of your life. And you know something? The rest of your life is a very long time. So you had better enter relationships, especially those that are going to be permanent, by knowing first who you are. Being single is an exciting season. It is a season where you can be so happy with life, with doing life on your own first, before you start doing life with somebody else. Have you done life on your own and seriously enjoyed it? Find yourself in this season. Become a whole person. Forget about, people say, oh, they are my better half. No. Find your whole person so that when somebody else comes or when you meet somebody else, you are whole and whole. Not half coming to fulfill your other half. No. You were created single. On your own, you were created. Find out who that person is, because nobody else is going to fulfill you until you find out who you are. And so, ladies, let us embrace our unique story by discovering who we are. Let us embrace the unknown out there. It is exciting. Life is an adventure. And sometimes that means stepping into the unknown. Embrace the uncertainty of being a single person, but it is an adventure. There's so much out there, especially when you start discovering who you are. Don't just let life pass you by because you're sitting there waiting or looking for somebody else to come and fulfill you. Rewrite your narrative, challenge societal norms, and rewrite the narrative of who you are as a single person. Your happiness and success are not dependent on your relationship status. I hope by now you understand that actually you've got the power in your hands to create the kind of life you want as a single person.